Welcome to Blerds, Eyeview After Dark. I'm your host, Chris Fury, and along with me, Candy B. We have some special guests, Jason Primrose, who is the author of Lost Children of Andromeda, and VampySnow, who is the co-founder and co-owner, part owner, half owner of Black Boosters.
She's just the owner.
She's just a Jane of trades is what she is. We are talking about WandaVision episode 8. Damn.
That's what the episode's called.
Yeah, like just
Title
episode
card.
8. Damn. You know, they say previously on, we said damn. Where do we begin with this one? Number one, shout out to Kevin Feige. Before we get into that, let me do this first. I wanted to do this on Blerd's Eyeview, but I wanted to get into this too. Blerd's Eyeview is a platform that showcases, like I stated earlier, POC creatives, Black cosplayers, Black blurred, bleak and blurred nations, you know, communities and everything. Currently, we're showcasing 28 days of Black cosplay, but I stopped talking about it and decided that I'm going to go past the 28 days. I want to showcase more Black cosplayers throughout the year. I'm pledging that. I want to do that throughout the year, and not just Black cosplayers. I want to see Black writers. I want to see Black filmmakers. I want to see
Black writers,
Black hip hop artists. I want to see more of us. We have such a huge pool of us. You know, we have Black podcasters. Shout out to Michael Blair of Blerd Over. Shout out to Navy Montel of Blurticorn Speaks. You know, Curtis over there at Head Nerds at Charge. Circle of Nerds, who Tommy is running that, and they support our type of platform. There is so much more that we have to offer that we don't get a lot of shine for. And VampySnow, you spoke on that. Jason, you spoke on that. Candy, Brandy, you spoke on that. So that is the pledge. That is the platform for Blerd's Eyeview. You're going to see more. I'm going way past 28 days. I am not kidding. I'm just trying to vamp out how often I'm going to do it. Like, is it going to be a weekly thing? I show somebody a week, or am I going to do every day?
If we can get me into that Instagram, it could be every day, but we got to figure out what we're doing.
It's got something to do with setting it up as a business thing. I got to look at it again. It's something crazy.
Oh, they don't let you share multiple logins or
I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, they made this complicated as hell.
Yeah, we had some problems as well when we first did it, like switching the Instagram over to business. Like sometimes we would get emails, or like we had to it was weird. It was complicated.
That's annoying.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, that's probably the issue. So, but like I said, this episode is about WandaVision's episode 8. I almost said season 8. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But episode 8, what did you guys think? Let's kick it off with our guest. Jason, let's start with you.
I just can't. I just can't with that whole show. Every time I walk into the show, I'm already like tense. I already have anxiety.
Yep.
Yo, okay. Look, I know we're gonna go like moment by moment, probably. But there was this one part when they were watching the Dick Van Dyke show. I fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all. Wait a minute.
I told DC.
Jarring. That was crazy. That was one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. I don't watch a lot of horror like shows or movies, but like for a show that's not that was like a shocking thing to happen.
I will say, because me and DC talked about it briefly yesterday.
At 5 in the morning.
Well, no, we were supposed to meet up with Courtney, and I don't know what happened to Courtney, but I told him, I said the theory about her living these sitcoms out, I was right. I said she must have been growing up looking at sitcoms, and this is why we're getting these sitcoms. That was probably the only theory I had locked down besides Monica Rambeau. And other than that, like, this show was so layered with questions, and the theories were going nuts, and I was here for all of it because I'm like, I like not knowing.
Yeah,
I forgot what that felt like. I like not knowing. I like the guessing game. I like, wow, being a nerd about all of this and saying like, okay, that's not gonna happen. Like, they kept saying Mephisto. Like, No Mephisto.
Yeah, I like when the show can actually surprise us because it's because of social media and a lot of stuff. You're just not surprised who's cast anymore, who's going to show up, where it's going to go. Spoilers are dropping from the set, or Tom Holland's just waking up in the morning. It ends up being a lot. So it is nice to watch a show, and I watch that show with my brain off. That way, every episode, I'm like, ooh, child. Okay, this is where we're at.
Yeah. Vampy, what did you think?
A lot of tears.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of tears. A lot of tears. But I still loved it. Like, how can I put my words into words?
That's deep. I like that.
How can I put my words into words?
I love that.
Where's Ja? Where
is Ja? That's what we do here. Where is Ja Rule to make sense of all this?
It was a lot of crying, but also like I want more. I need more. I need more. I need another. They said this episode was going to be an hour. This was not no 60 minutes.
Yes, it was 46 minutes. Y'all tried us, or 42.
And you know what? And we're still tuning in.
Right. Like, yeah, we're trying to watch.
Like, we didn't say we weren't watching. It was just like, hey, you're supposed to give us more.
I need more enough. It's really not. It's not enough. I need more. Okay, so when I started WandaVision, I didn't really know that much because I don't read the comics. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know too much about Scarlet Witch. I didn't know she was like very, very powerful. So when I started watching this, I was like, oh my fucking God. Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. I've been sleeping on Scarlet Witch. Like, what?
She's a badass. She's a badass when she's not crazy.
It's not crazy.
She's never crazy.
She's book-wise, she's just off kilter.
I don't think she's crazy.
The show, she's grieving. There's a total, the balance is, I think
in the comics she's grieving too. Well,
she's
first of all,
grieving.
let me just say I knew she was bad when she killed Vision and held off Thanos at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And then
that takes a different type of strength.
Yeah.
Look, emotionally and physically and magically, like,
yeah.
I literally have to watch you die and then make sure he don't kill the both of us.
Yeah. And everybody's in agreement, and I'm glad they addressed it on the show that she took on Thanos single-handedly. Mm-hmm. That she had him turning tail and saying, you know what? Fuck this. Rain fire on all these motherfuckers.
But sir,
right? Our troops.
Them troops. You know?
That was one of my favorite moments. Fuck them troops. I want a shirt that says that.
Just fuck them troops. That's pretty much what he said.
Oh,
Fuck them
he
troops.
did not care. And it's nice to see a character that had us all kind of like, we knew it was coming, right? Like anybody that was familiar even with the comic books, we knew what was coming with Thanos. But I swear,
he had lines.
I was just like, when are we getting rid of him? Because I'm getting scared, and knowing what has to happen and still being scared, but to see him scared, to see him panicked.
Yeah.
Was
he had the lines in that movie. He really did have the lines in it. When she says you took everything from me, he looked
that was great.
I don't even know who you are. It was such a
I think about that a lot. I think about that not even like from a serious point. I just think about it a lot from a meme standpoint.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know who you are. It was like, and then to turn around, it was like, fuck them troops. Like,
because he's not like a lot of people were saying you're truly an adult when you start agreeing with the villains that you were against when you were younger. So I've always said, like, all of a sudden, I'm like, so and so is not like Thanos isn't crazy, and
like
no, he's not like that.
Yeah, you're like, I get it.
What Marvel is managing to do is with their villain angle, they managed to humanize them to a point where you're just like, I get that. I get why Ultron. I get why Ultron is like, he's like all this. I mean, they were even saying all this war. Like the single problem is humans. I got to get rid of the humans. If I get rid of the humans, we won't have any war. But then he just went over the line, like past killing the humans. He's like, but then if I take it over, we won't have to worry about war ever again. So I was like, I get part of what you're saying, but you're still wrong. Killmonger.
I saw what was wrong.
Yeah, he was just saying we need to go out and we need to save our people, but at the same time, you kind of tearing up the kingdom that you're in right now. You're just like,
well, that was just like he needed like a resource manager or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because you notice by the
HR
end,
department, like, hey, listen, you got it for 5 minutes. Just
because you notice what the child did at the end. He was just like, I'm going to help everybody else because they had the same goal, different paths. Thanos, he's like, I've seen my planet suffer because there wasn't enough resources. I had to go around the galaxy killing half of the population. Now I find all these stones and I can do it without killing. Nobody's really dead.
I can save time and energy. He was being smart. He was just being smart.
He had the HR resource. He was like, I'm not killing anybody.
Listen, I don't know who trained him, but baby, he had politician speeches. I'm like, listen, like, where do I donate? Because this makes sense. I can find an Infinity Stone. I think I saw one on Crenshaw. Like, do it
because I mean, when everybody came back, they were just like, "Oh yeah, we were just asleep for a few seconds." Like I remember,
they had no sense of time or anything.
Yeah, it was just the people that was left behind. WandaVision. Where do I begin? First off, Hayward is a bastard. Let's start there.
Do we really want to? Can we not give the white man that much power in this conversation? Can we start somewhere else?
He's a son bitch. Let's just put it that way. I gotta put that out there. He's a son bitch.
He is. Yeah, you feel away.
Wanda reacted in the way I'd expect anybody to react when losing a loved one. She did have a sense of urgency. She did have a sense of impatience, but once she seen his body, she reacted how anyone would react, although we were all waiting for the flip, she didn't flip. It took her a minute to leave, process it, which she's still in processing mode, and to see the deed to the house, or the land, I should say, the deed to the land.
I was like,
I'm like, all this shit is coming together. Yeah, I was like, all this shit. And they showed that heart so many times. Like the last episode when they had was it the last one? Yeah, when they did like Modern Family and they showed the heart, they showed the calendar. I'm like, what is the deal with the calendar and the heart? I'm like, it's not the calendar, it was the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Misty-eyed.
I'm like, who is writing all of this? Because this is amazing.
It's a real moment.
And that's when she loses it. Like that's when she cracks, and it's got to go somewhere. Everybody's had that grieving moment where they just had to cry out, and that was her crying out moment. And on top of that, that town looked like shit before she got to it. I'm
not updated. I saved y'all, to be honest.
I'm like, y'all crying about she's hurting. I'm like, hurting y'all. Y'all look like y'all was financially hurting and everything else. And that's brown grass. The daggone pond was dirty as hell. I'm like,
that old swimming pool.
Where was the leaf pickup? Where was the sanitation department at? Like, there's all these trash rolling around.
Who do y'all have running this town? I wasn't mad at the upgrade either, but that I love anytime I can watch a show that is superhero based, right? So you're always kind of expecting everybody to just be hyper powerful and everything else, but to humanize them and to have it come down to, I just wanted to be in a normal setting. I just wanted this house. Like, I literally I was watching the gym and almost cried on the treadmill about it, because I'm like, it's relatable when I was married trying to find a house, and then when I got a divorce, and I remember driving past the house that we lived in probably for a year every once in a while just to look at it, and then being heartbroken when someone moves in it. So to have that moment to see Wanda not see anything there the way she wanted it to, it essentially is rubble in the same way of what she literally grew up in from a tragic event. So you lost a home there, you lost another home, you lost an emotional home with loving Vision and having something you didn't think you were going to have, because you and your brother were not having it with the Avengers, okay? You were giving them that work. So to even let your guard down there, all of this was a big deal. And to build, because it's all building, right? Like the physical building and then the emotional building it takes to build something with someone and have everything taken away from you. I'm surprised she didn't do more. You know what I mean? But I will say this, I need to talk to my job on Monday to see if they can cover insurance-wise Agatha, because if she can help me through my trauma, she walked her through, okay? She's like,
for somebody,
walk through the door, tell me what you feel here. I'm like, Agatha, let me find out, sis. Do you got a Cash App? What do you charge an hour?
Like, she was the stuff she was saying, the stuff that Agatha, she's like, come on, sister, dig a little deeper. And I'm like,
no,
Agatha, you really ain't all that bad right now. You
Agatha clocking her about that accent, like it'll go in and out, don't it? I'm like, girl,
yeah,
that
sounded more like Agatha. That sounded more
like
Agatha in the comics. Well, because because we saw the what happened at the beginning with her and the sister witches, and I guess her power is somewhat like reflective absorption,
which is awesome, by the way,
which is so cool. But I feel like it really, people thought that she was actually bad, like she was the villain, but really she's just trying to find out how she accessed this kind of magical power. Yeah. So I thought that was a good.
I thought she was a villain too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not a villain in the sense of, oh, she's a threat to the Avengers and the X-Men. She's more or less, look, I just want power. I'm not trying to hurt anybody or anything like that. But like in the case with the sisterhood, where she was, she went and accessed power that, like her mother said, was above her age and rank. And it sounds more like she's probably asked about this before, and you told her no.
I was just going to say that's what that sounds. And even in the middle,
and like being fed up that they didn't want to teach her because they were probably scared of her, scared of the potential.
That part.
Yeah, and so
you're not knowing what you're going to do with that power. Yeah. So. Yeah, they were probably scared, but her in the middle of all that and still saying, hey, like, I still want help. Like, y'all are going to die. I'm not. Help me with this. Like, that's all I'm asking about. And I'm like, wow, y'all still aren't hearing her even in this moment. And I don't know if they meant for it to read that deep, but I feel like that happens a lot with women, period, where it's like, I'm saying something here and you're still not listening to me. You're telling me what I'm feeling and what I'm about. And I'm trying to tell you, this is all I wanted. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting some power and wanting something above my level or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. What you do with it would have been the wrong part, but y'all not even giving me a shot. So that's why I had to take it. And then that's why the rest of y'all got to be crispy now. And it didn't have to be like that. It didn't even have to go that way.
And shout out to Catherine Hahn, who is a Cleveland Heights native.
Let's go.
But the scene where like they're all hitting her with their power and she's screaming, there's a moment where I'm sitting there, I'm like, she's not really screaming. And then it flipped. And I'm like, she's faking the scream on purpose to draw them in, to make them think, oh, this is actually hurting me. No, it's not. It's not really hurting me. I'm just drawing all this in. And here's the flip, and then her mother goes in and I'm like, Ma, you didn't really pay attention. You're probably more powerful than they are, but you didn't really pay attention because it's like 5 of them and you still.
Even when she's pleaded again, it's like, no, you're still nothing but bad. And I know people that grew up in that way where they did something and flat out to their parents or whoever was watching, look, I'm not really like this. I just have other stuff going on, but have their parent or grandma, or whoever was raising them, be like, no, you're this. You're just like your daddy, or you're just like I said you were. And I'm like, you're still not listening to this girl, but And
I love how and I figured they were going to do a backstory for her. And I'm glad they didn't really spend a lot of time telling her backstory. It was just like, this is it. This, you don't need to know. All you know is she got a hold of something she shouldn't have. According to them, she's access to it. She's obviously adept to using it. They didn't like it. Now we got to punish her.
Right. I do have a question for you guys regarding that, which is still related to what we're talking about, but also because it's big in Hollywood right now, where it's like between the Cruella de Vil film and all type of stuff where the villains are getting this backstory. Maleficent, I don't feel like it's necessary. I like to not know the traumas of my villains or the big bad of the season or the movie, but how do you guys feel about that?
I like it and I hate it. For Maleficent, I thought it was amazing. I love it, but that's only because Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney princess. And Maleficent is my favorite Disney villain. That is the only reason.
And it actually worked for Angelina Jolie. That actually the vibe worked.
The costumes,
she looked really good in that.
Yeah,
they're beautiful. Oh my god, I have Aurora's dress on my list. From the movie. It's on my list. And I'm just really big into mythical creatures and fairies and warlocks. It's all that was just up my alley. For Cruella de Vil, I don't really care. I don't really care for it. I saw the trailer and I was not wild about it. I was like, really? This is the route that you're going? Really?
When the trailer come out, somebody said Disney's Joker because it was giving that Joker.
It was.
It really was. I was like, did y'all just make Harley Quinn, but not like, what are we talking about now?
It was very disappointing.
I think I saw everything I needed to see in Once Upon a Time when it comes to Disney villains.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
And that was
really good.
But
I love Once Upon a Time.
I like humanizing villains. I read the Wicked series by Gregory Maguire, so I thought Wicked was really great. So there's definitely been a trend in humanizing and giving villains their stories, which I also do because it's perspective, right? Like people are not born bad. People are not born evil is my assertion. So you kind of want to know how people get to where they are and like, what do they want? Like everyone has to have a motivation. And I think we started to realize that like just being evil isn't enough of a motivation for people to do bad things or do things that are hurtful.
I guess I'm more so picky about who they choose because certain people, I'm like, I didn't care about their origin story. But then other people, like, if you give me, because I like the Descendants movies that came out on Disney Channel or whatever. I just felt like those were so good. So you give me Jafar, Ursula, some characters I cared about. Yeah. And maybe I'll be like, please tell me how she, like, because I know something went down with King Triton. Ain't no way you just a sea witch and you got it out for this girl.
No, they're family. They're family. This, I want to know.
Wait.
I want to know what happened here.
Yeah,
I think it is canon. I think it is canon.
Triton, they're brother and sister.
So she's just after Ariel because he's going to hit him where it hurts.
No. She's not after Ariel. She wants what she wants is the crown. That is what she wants.
And I don't know what happened because I remember there was a speech she was given when she was like, when I lived in the palace and then this happened. So I'm like, okay, so what was the breaking point? Because of course it was never really talked about. But I remember being like 8 years old looking like, I need to figure this out. So there's, depending on the villain, I'm like, I want to know. But they're just having a free for all now. Where it's like, let's tell you the origin story of every, like, I don't care. Like, don't give me any extra background that I didn't ask about. Like, some people, you just don't care.
I mean, like the Cruella film. I'm interested, but not as interested as I was with Maleficent. Or
Maleficent seemed kind of top tier, though.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm only interested. I'm like, okay. Let's see what Emma Stone does with this. You know,
and I love Emma Stone, and I'm here for the fashion.
Yeah.
Emma Stone? Oh, okay. I might have missed that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious.
Yeah, I like her a lot. So. She's rarely been in anything I didn't like her. But it's just, it might be me watching her play the character she did in Easy A for 2 hours, but dressed as Cruella. You know, she's kind of that person where it's like the same person you were in Easy A, you were in Zombieland, you were like, she has this thing where she's the snarky, dry character each time, which is fine because it works for you. I think there's some other ones that just kind of read the same way, but it's kind of like, we didn't really ask for this. I can tell there's a whole bunch of other movies that you're fans, if you really ask us, that we want. And maybe because of social media and other platforms, maybe they'll start listening to us. Maybe we'll get this Woo series we want, that everybody's tweeting about and making these memes about. That would be fantastic.
Three people that I actually missed in this episode: Agent Woo, Darcy, and Monica.
Mm-hmm. Darcy is my favorite.
I love Darcy.
So we have this funny joke in BCB because on the podcast one time I said Mew Mew because that's what she says. She says Mew Mew. And they were all like, what are you talking about? I'm like, that's what it's called. That's what it's called. It's called Mew Mew. So
she can't say millionaire, so she calls it Mew Mew. Even when it flies past her, she's like, Mew Mew.
It's hard to say that name. I just Mew Mew. Just Mew Mew.
I mean, and it was funny. The first story, that was funny when like when he finally finds his his center, his purpose, and he finds himself worthy again. And it flies by. She's like, mew mew, and it's just like it's such a funny moment, because you're just like you're so wrapped up in he's finally got it. Okay, and then she sees it and it's like that's the break. It breaks.
Yeah,
It breaks the whole scene. And you're like, what was this all about? But yeah, I miss seeing Darcy in this episode. And the other thing that's cool about it, like from the last episode, I like how Vision opened her mind and she didn't freak out. Like that tells you how analytical she is and how logical her brain is.
Oh yeah, very left brain.
Like she even said it. She's doing it out loud. She's like, "Whoo, okay, hi there, self. All right, okay, now what?" And it was like she was right with it. She was right with it. And she was like, "I always wanted to be a part of the show, but that was freaky." Okay, so do you want to continue this conversation on the road? So I love how she really comes around that fast, and can. You're like, she's not even breaking character. I love Kat Dennings because she has that very. I told DC, I was like, she's the female Ryan Reynolds. Like everything I've seen her in, she has that snappy comeback.
She gives me vibes like Ryan and like Robert Downey Jr. and maybe even Samuel L. Jackson. There's some actors and actresses where I'm like, I feel like they give you maybe a character synopsis, but you're one of the rare ones that are like, go with it. Everyone else has lines. You stick to your lines. You get to freestyle because maybe your personality bleeds more into the character, and you could already play tennis like that anyway. You're quick on your feet. Some people can't do that, and they have to stick to a script. But I feel like Kat is one of those people where it's like, well, I can say whatever. It's like, oh, Vision just touched your mind. Go.
Yeah.
And then she was like, all right, I got this. Although speaking of Vision, and one of y'all helped me because I was at the end. Because they're starting to our Easter eggs now.
All right.
So was that OG Vision?
No. In the comics, his body was destroyed. And it was rebuilt by the government. And it was rebuilt without the emotional aspect.
No, is that why he was blue?
No.
Wait, but I thought that they had his body.
Yeah.
They actually have his body. Which also explains why the Vision that Wanda has can't leave the Hex because he's not.
Oh my God.
He can't not really be there. Everything in the Hex is real.
Please stop talking.
Everything in the Hex is real.
We're in the Hex right now.
But see, and this is the layers I was talking about with this show because these are the layers I was talking about for this show. Is just that all this time you had his body and you doctored the footage and you lied to Monica, you lied to Agent Wu, and you lied to Darcy about everything to make Monica out this villain, and she was never the villain the entire time. You were looking for a patsy just so you can continue whatever BS you were dealing with. And damn, like I remember someone saying that from the first time you meet Hayward that he was an asshole, and I was like, I didn't get asshole vibes off of him. Like when he was saying that Monica should have been the one in charge, but she wasn't there. She was snapped. And so he was obviously next in line. I didn't pick a prick attitude off of that. But it wasn't until
vibes of a person that's just like, I'm just here to do my job and I take my job seriously. So he was giving vibes of that guy. Like I'm about my job. Then I was like, no, you're a fucking asshole. So
it wasn't until Monica did her spiel and he didn't like none of it that he pulled the mom card on her basically. Mm-hmm. Well, your mother died.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that was.
We got to rewind on that one. Here's the thing. You see, the first thing that he tells Monica is that she's demoted.
Yeah.
That's why I knew he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Because whose decision was that? He's like, oh, it was your mother's decision or whatever. But like, I think his delivery
could have been worked on.
Yeah. And then he was
like,
I don't know. I didn't like his attitude from the beginning. I was like, there's got to be. He can't be this. He can't be this good. He can't be a good person. He just can't be a good person. And that was like the first time.
Yeah.
It was always a little off. This is always a little too serious. Oh, I gotta go grab my food.
Yo, no problem. Go ahead.
Right back.
But yeah, he did give you that, and you've seen that trope before in like other type of
wearing his merch. I just got to see the whole thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me pay this man. I'm playing games. He's gonna get his money.
I love how they always use that in all these type of like Mission Impossible, Jack Ryan, whatever those films have that little government spin. You always have that higher up who just he's an asshole, but it's because he's doing his job.
But those guys typically are likable, right? Yeah. They have a likable moment and you find that out sooner than later, where you're kind of like, oh man, Sergeant so-and-so is actually, even Nick Fury kind of had moments like that, but you're like, he gives a damn about y'all. That's why he's acting like this.
Exactly.
It's not
Hayward was a totally different piece.
I always thought Hayward had a hidden agenda. Like it was something off. Like what are you trying to do? You don't care about these people. You don't really care to like protect these people. And
that's what I'm waiting on. He doesn't, like you said, something's off.
That one agent, that one female agent that seems to always be by his side, she keeps giving him looks like, why? Like she's having that moment of crises where she's saying, you know what, I'll do this. I don't really want to. Mm-hmm. You know, she's giving that vibe off, like, you know, like she know, like dude, I know you're lying. Like I know you're lying. Like you're lying to Monica. You're lying up to about all. I know you're lying. Yet I can't really say anything because I'll fuck around and lose my job.
Listen, you about to lose your job. Like the pacing of this show is great too, because the whole time I was waiting for Monica's hair first and then Monica, because they're two separate characters. So I was waiting to see her. I was like, all right, like we're my girl, because where we last left our heroes, like where are we? And then the fact that the episode cut off right when it did. Again, shout out to Agatha, because the face was beat, honey, when you came out choking them kids. Her makeup was cute. I'm like, if you're gonna choke some kids, have a nice eye, change your
might as well look good
doing it. You could tell it was him just right for her. It didn't look messy. Like I live for a good villainess outfit, even though I don't view her as a villain. You're just a selfish person. You're not thinking about anybody else but yourself. That's all it is. You're worried about yourself, and you don't want to have to hurt other people, but you're also a person that realizes if I want the quickest route to get what I want, and these kids that were probably made up anyway gotta die, they just gotta die. Like I'm asking you to come up with something. I spent all day going through your trauma. You can't tell me how you created this. He's like,
because that's what she's essentially trying to find out. Like, how did you do this? I need to know, because one, that shit was impressive. That's how she's coming off. That's impressive.
She's admiring her, and I love that Wanda's playing. It's like, bitch, what's wrong with you? I'm confused. Like, I am grieving. I've gone through a lot, and she's just like enamored. Like, girl, you don't understand. I took years to make this into this into this and glamour this, and you just come here and create a whole nother world. Self-functioning, autopilot. What's your secret?
Yeah, I love how they do a complete recap. She was like, and then I tried fake Pietro or Fietro, and I'm like, well, that theory right out the damn window. I'm like, shit, you didn't waste any time. No, multiverse right out the window. It was just like, nope, they're not bringing him in. That's it. He's gone. He's done.
Chart that you've been working on and just cross out anytime you were like, nope, this isn't happening. We were wrong, you guys. We were wrong.
Like, not happening. Cross.
Not happening.
That's it. I love how they did that. And the bomb with the blinking red light. It reverted all the way back to that very first commercial where they showed Stark Industries toaster and the blinking red light, and you notice how the two actors had a look. They had this look like this thing is blinking, but they had this look, and now you see the bomb that was blinking the exact same way. It was a Stark Industries weapon that was malfunctioning, and I'm like, wow. The commercial makes that much more sense. I didn't know why that was so significant, but now we see it. You know,
it was not malfunctioning.
You don't think it was malfunctioning
No,
or a dud?
this is the mutant retcon that Wanda always had reality probability magic. She explains it as it didn't go off. And then Agatha goes, and so you were magically safe in a war zone for 2 days?
Agatha did play her like that.
Yeah. Because
See, that makes sense.
Her to affect reality around her unconsciously.
Honey, that doesn't make sense, girl.
That makes a little more sense.
Wait a minute. Was the magic always with her? Because I'm thinking you were experimented on, and then this happened. Then I'm like, wait a minute. What? So
that explains her being faced off with the Mind Stone and having that vision like she did, because what Hydra was looking at, they just seen her looking in there, nothing was going on, and she just faints.
Yeah.
That's all they seen. They didn't see this thing break loose from the scepter and facing off with her, and she's seeing basically a silhouette of a comic book version of herself, which I'm actually kind of wanting to see now, because the way they made that look, it looks better than their Malcolm in the Middle episode. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, are we getting that? Are we getting that leather? That because let me say, first off, I love her look when she's wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
She rocks that damn look. I don't know what it is about that dark red leather and that black. And I said it on a previous After Dark episode when she was facing off with his agent, with Hayward and his agents, and she does the flip. It was something about when she turns those guns on him and what she does, and I'm like, she must have been watching a lot of Beyonce or something, you know, or something, because it was very sassy. It was just like, I'm like, that's a lot of soul you had just now. Did Geraldine teach you something when she was in there?
Wanda went to a couple of balls and was like, all right, I'm gonna get
right.
They won't mess with me.
Because it was a hell of a flip. It was a flip and walk away at the same time. I'm like, that ain't normal for white girls. So I'm like, where did you learn that?
From Eastern Europe, that's why. You ain't regular white girl.
You said Eastern
Europe.
Europe.
Eastern Europe. She's not regular white girl.
Like,
you know, it was either that Geraldine / Monica might have been showing her something inside the hex, and like she might have picked up a little something. I don't know, but
probably picked it up right from Monica, because Monica basically told her, "Try it there, bitch. Do it then."
Well, you made out no matter what she was in.
That's still the best moment in the series to me. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna, because that gave me the same vibes of move or you will be moved. Don't mess with me. And I'm just like, right.
I was like, cheers. That's off to you, Monica. I love it.
Anytime writers added a moment like that, I'm always, or at least in my hopes, I'm always hoping, like, I hope a Black person wrote this beat, because this beat right here is where a lot of us are on the edge of, whether we are in line at the store, whether we're driving and get cut off, whether somebody that was born in 1950 something think that we are ancestors, but we bite back. Don't do it. Listen, I love moments that are like, not here. We're not doing that, colonizer. Don't do it. No.
I love how in that last episode where she's facing off with Monica and she has her strength level, she's like, "You're not throwing me out of here again." And then she does her superhero landing. And Monica, when she does the landing, you know, normally any other person other than this would be somewhat surprised. Monica's like, she just rolls with it. Yeah. Like, I can do this now.
Yeah, Monica didn't have a Peter Parker moment. It was like, all right, and she just took off running. I'm like, I'd at least need like 10 minutes. Like,
what did I just do?
I just went through like 6 different traumas coming through the hex. My face was everywhere. What is going on? Did my hair pattern change? Like, what? Okay, now I'm gonna go.
But it was the solidarity for me.
Yeah.
Like, when she came back together, like all the way together.
You see it change, like when she does it. It just is in her face. She's just like, she just is when she hears that. When you hear that line from Captain Marvel about when it was giving out kids, she was the best one, and she called her Lieutenant Trouble. It's something about that line that really drives it home for her. It's like her center or something. I don't know. And when she pulls it together, so to speak, and I'm just like, that moment right there was like, yes. Like, I was screaming in the car because I watched that before work, and I'm like, yes, Photon.
Yeah, I get excited
Spectrum.
anytime
Whatever.
superheroes, but especially for her. And I love that Jason said she really did come together, like, and then came out whole, because again, thinking about it from a Black perspective, that's Black women almost all the time. It's like, we got to keep ourselves together. We got to do, like, it's almost like if we don't do it, it doesn't get done, or we can't really wait for someone to do, like, save us.
Mhm.
It's like, I got to myself. I can't wait. No one's coming for me. Even her making the decision, I can get through, and not even being like, should I? I'm going through.
She didn't hesitate. No hesitation.
Yeah.
She just
she
she was like, look out, and then she was like, I can still get through this, and just take. And it was like no.
If she don't do nothing else, she be running, child.
Well, you know, consider. Well, that appreciation post somebody put up on Facebook, you've seen her legs. I'm like, she's doing something in the gym.
Because I would have been like, every 5 minutes, Marvel would have been pissed at me. Brandy, we can't keep cutting every time. I'm trying to catch you.
So this episode has managed to answer a lot of questions. Number one, it answered a lot of questions, but it still gave us more questions to be asked. And one of them was obviously White Vision, because see, now that is 2 episodes left. They're giving us after credit.
One, right?
Is it one? Is it one or two?
Two.
I thought it was 2.
I thought it was only 9 episodes.
I don't
thought
know.
it was
So
10.
I heard, from what I heard, it's going to be 10 episodes. But I also heard that the last 2 episodes are going to be an hour long. So I don't know.
They are really
wait. Y'all, no, because I've never heard 10 episodes.
I'm going to be so mad if it's
No,
not 10.
it ends March 4th.
What?
Well, I have 1,000 questions and only one answer.
So that last one got to be an hour long.
Basically, I'm with Vampy. Like, what?
Episode 9, March 5th, 2021. That's it.
We can't
Unless they
do
do
this.
something cute. And not
I don't
tell
want
people it's
nothing
gonna be 10
cute. I
episodes.
want my answer.
They might tell people there aren't going to be 10 episodes and then have 10 episodes.
Oh,
They've been playing. I will say, Marvel been playing it really close to the chest. They've been playing it real close to the chest. So
drop it like a Beyonce album out of nowhere. Like,
oh, y'all needed this. Here, there you go.
Something else.
But
Let's look up the Winter Soldier premiere date.
Yeah, it's March 19th or 18th.
So that's time.
We might get a 10th episode.
Yeah.
We better, because they're stacking too much information, and I need to have some type of peace.
They can't close that up in an hour.
Yeah, because it's got to be 10, because I remember them saying it's a week off. So that means their last episode will be the 12th, and the 19th is when Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So it's technically a week.
Tuesday.
So where did I read that? I don't know if it was Marvel's Twitter page or if it was Superhero Hype. It was one of those sites, but it was a legit site. It was a legit site. They were. It was one when they were saying their release slates. That's what it was.
Is anybody willing to make any bets on this?
Listen, you're not gonna get me. I already owe you money, sir. Stop it.
Yeah, man, we're trying to get limited edition of your book.
Yeah, I'm trying to get all the birds out big. He's like, you want to put up more money?
I love how he says, anyone want to bet? And here I am in air. He's just like, don't bite, idiot. Don't bite.
Yeah, I'm like, look,
you're already pledged. Don't bite.
I'm Shark Tank, and for that reason, I'm out. Okay.
We will reconvene on next Friday.
Oh yeah.
See where we are.
Oh yeah.
I think it was the last episode when they were tracking Vision in the town. Yeah, it was the last episode. I thought that they had Vision. I thought it was actual Vision. I thought it was the body that Wanda stole. That's what I thought it was. And I thought it was a bomb. I thought they were rewiring him for him to be a weapon. And then with this episode...
God, I didn't think about that part. I forgot about that. I forgot about them tracking him. And I was like, why are you tracking him if you already have him? What are you tracking?
So that's why I was like,
yeah.
Oh, another layer. What are you?
What do
So
you
it's
think,
maybe
Andy?
it's not. So maybe it's not Vision that maybe they assumed it was Vision that they were trying. Well, and the person that said it was Darcy.
It was Vision, because where it lines up where Vision was at the time lines up with the map that they showed of him being tracked.
Mm-hmm. But maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know that they could use the hex energy to animate the vision they had. Or do you think they always knew that?
Wait a minute.
No.
Okay, so they could have always known that, because remember, he sent in the drone and then he was like, we didn't mean to, we weren't trying to hurt you. And
no, I'm pretty sure they always wanted to hurt her.
Knowing Hayward, he was probably already deemed her.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to kill Wanda just because of how powerful she was, and he assumed that she would probably try to use her reality powers to take over the world or some bullshit like that.
But how did he know that she had reality powers? Because when he said you can reanimate your dead husband, she said, "What are you talking about? I don't know how to do that." Remember when he was like,
but see, because it's making me think that maybe when Darcy was the one that said it originally, that they were tracking him. What if it wasn't like a tracking beacon? Maybe she, with her warp reality, chaos magic, warping powers, whatever. What if she was able to remake the Mind Stone? And they were picking that signature up.
Which could be possible, because the only reason they're even on her ass like this is because they know how powerful she is. Yeah. And it's like, either we have to be able to control her or we need to take her out. It's only one or the other. They're not just going to let her live her life.
Yeah.
No, they won't leave her alone.
They can't.
She's at the point like, why?
And that's really her own fault for flexing during Endgame. Had you not flexed, and
well, she was acting out. You almost can't. You really, everything she has done up until this point, you can't blame her for.
No, not at all. Anybody that would
especially after this episode.
I don't understand the people that had automatically deemed her as main villain, big bad. Because I'm like, this woman is grieving.
I don't think she was ever a villain, and the reason I'm saying I don't think she was a villain is because she was never doing anything harmful in the town
ever.
All she wanted was to live her life out with Vision. That's all she ever wanted, and
to mind her business.
Yes.
Now the one guy that Vision's mind, he woke up Norm. Okay, I don't know what kind of pain he's going through, but dude, y'all's town looked like trash. I don't know what it was what were you exactly?
Chris is like, you were making minimum wage before Wanda came in.
You're working at some job that does something, but
yeah, maybe it's the fact that they're in pain because they can't control themselves. Like, imagine you're fully awake and you can see everything you're doing, but you have no control over it.
It's giving me vibes as those people that wake up during surgery and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And that's the vibes everybody seems to be giving off when they wake up.
Yeah, like the woman at the edge of town who keeps hanging up. Yeah, she kept doing like that. Like she's stuck doing that, And
that was very disturbing.
I think that was
the creepiest part of that episode, because I'm like, what in the M. Night Shyamalan? It was giving me that vibe. Like,
at the edge of town, like
I don't like this.
And like Agatha said, it was like Agatha said, it was magic on autopilot, and maybe Wanda doesn't know that is expanding out to that level.
I don't think she does, because she was looking crazy the whole time Agatha was talking. Like, what are you talking about? I just was in my own bubble with me envisioning these two bad kids. I was not thinking about anybody else. And she's like, no, you're going to figure this out.
Well, okay. So going back to that, Agatha thinks Wanda knows she's a witch.
Yeah.
That's even her being like, this is chaos, Matt. Like her having to walk her through.
Like, you know how to brush your hair. You know what products to use. Like,
I love your interpretation of what she said, because even that short text of it is exactly the vibes. Like, what you mean you don't? And then she got to walk her through. Okay, so only the original pitch that said it.
Yeah. Only the original person that placed the curse
And then she said they were
Doesn't
basic.
affect the curse.
Yeah. These basic runes. Like, I didn't even do nothing for real. What's wrong with you? Why are you impressed and surprised by this? And this is
and
basic.
she's slowly coming around to saying, like, okay, she may not be, and as she said it at the end, she was like, you're not even supposed to exist. You're a myth.
Yeah.
And she literally just gives her the name. Like, you're the Scarlet Witch. So now I'm like, okay.
Now I gotta get on Google.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm about to start reading the comics.
While you playing tonight, I was like, I might have to get into some Scarlet Witch stuff because this backstory I'm living for.
Here's the thing: Wanda has always been in the comics. They deem her, and it reads different in the comics. It really does. You know what I love about this live action version is you get a more depth for it. You know, she's grieving. She's acting as a grieved person would act. That's just it. In the comics, she's the daughter of Magneto, and obviously that's a whole nother level of shit. And so already now your father is deemed a villain per se, depending on what day of the week it is.
I never thought Magneto to be a villain anyway.
Well, it's like I said, it depends on like right now.
He wasn't just like Dr. Doom ain't. Like, I got a list of people I rock with. I'm like, you're not.
I rock with Doom. I rock with Doom. It's just Doom has a I love Doom. I love Doom.
I was gonna say I thought a butt was coming after that.
No, I love Doom. They just like to he says it. Doom and Lex Luthor are my two favorite villains.
They just got some different ways of doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think sometimes when you're that intelligent, you are more disconnected from your emotions. And that makes sense because you're so operating in that left hemisphere. It's kind of like you don't even see why people are like, what are you doing to humanity? You're like, I'm saving y'all. What are you talking about? You don't see like the big picture.
Like Lex Luthor. They figure, why is he out for Superman so bad? Well, he's an alien with all godlike powers. What happens one day if he snaps and flips? What happens if he decides he doesn't want to save anybody anymore? Yeah. Who's going to help us? You know, that's his whole mindset, you know. And Doom is like, I see all this, he's coming from poor upbringings and being ostracized and everything else. And he's extremely intelligent, although he's extremely vain on top of that. And that's his flaw. It's his vainness. And he's like, look, in my country, all the people eat. In my country, people are happy.
That's the definition that everybody eats, B.
Yeah, he was like, the only downside is he's got Doom bots at every corner. That's about it.
Like, but is it really a downside?
He's like, there's no crime. He's like, there's no crime.
But literally the same thing's happening in Korea. They have bots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was like, they have bots everywhere. There's no crime. Kids are fed. People have a home. People have jobs. That's just it. And Reed is always knocking at his door. The only exception to the rule is Luke Cage. He did dip out on Luke Cage for that $200.
Sorry, when you say like that. That's just like
he did. There's an issue of Luke Cage where Luke is just kind of starting out his superhero thing, but he's still being hired out. He doesn't know who the Fantastic Four is. Doom hires him for $200. This was in the 70s. He hires him for $200, says, I want you to take out the Fantastic Four. So he goes to the Fantastic Four, busts up some stuff, faces off with Ben and everything else. And then after all the dust is settled, Doom then flew back to Latveria. Luke didn't get paid. But after the dust is settled, he's like, okay, these guys aren't bad. But this sucker, and literally, that's what he said, this sucker just skipped out on $200. So he catches a flight to Latveria, busts down the door, and literally says, sucker, where's my $200? Wow. I can understand that. He's like, brother, you skipped out on my cash. I want my money. Basically, I did what I was supposed to do.
Anytime we're coming down to where's my money, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, so that was the only thing. I'm like, Doom, you skipped out on his brother money. You got to pay the man. He did what you wanted. Luke found out then, you got to pay me up front. So, but there's that. But episode 8 of WandaVision has given us quite a bit. If anything, a lot of tears. A lot of tears.
I did not want to relive her trauma with her, but I get it.
When she went back to her sitting on the bed with Vision, that is where I was just like, this is too much. Why are you doing it?
And Paul, the way he plays Vision is
that
perfect.
line he says.
Yeah,
that line he says.
You can see the connection that's forming. You can like see the beginning of that relationship, and to know what happens at the end, that Vision ends up dying twice.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, as he's becoming, look, my sappy ass, as he's becoming more human, he's connecting with her. That's just that's what gets me, because I'm like, oh my god.
The two lines in this entire in this entire episode was when she goes to see his body, and she's having her hand hovering over his head, and she says,
really
I can't feel you. I can't feel you. I'm like, damn, that's sad. And then to turn around, and they're like Vampy said, like she's reflecting about them sitting on the bed in one of the conversations. Yeah, and he says, what's grief without love persevering? And I'm like, dude, you ain't got to be deep like that right now.
And then like, even them like sitting at the end of the bed and still like watching TV, and it's like that's what she wanted them to do. And like I can't even talk about it.
It's powerful.
The trauma of healing from the loss of her brother, and while Vision was helping her work through that, her and Vision were forming that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's just dealing with a lot. She has nowhere to go.
And then on top of that, when you think about her timeline, when did you have a break from trauma?
Exactly.
When did you have a break? Because if you weren't doing this, you were that. If you weren't working with these people, if you weren't a Hydra weapon, next thing you know, you're with the Avengers. Okay, now we're fighting. It's always something. You didn't have a chance. And I understand why she was enjoying her time, because I forget it wasn't Winter Soldier. It was one after that when they actually got to honeymoon a little bit. Yeah,
it was
and they got to like, chill and stuff. And her even being pissed about that. Like, I'm just trying to be with my man. And here we are again being interrupted.
Yeah, it went from Civil War, and then when you see him again, like when they're on the run, like after Steve breaks them all out of the raft, then you see him again. They're literally in hiding in Infinity War, and they're just kind of like, what's the next step in this relationship? Where are we going to go? How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? And once again, being sought out. And it's just like, you're right. She never had a true break, lost her parents at a young age, living in a war-torn country, turn around, become radicalized, turn around into becoming a weapon for Hydra or being experimented on by Hydra, turn around, realizing, okay, maybe that was the wrong side to fight for. We're going to fight on the right side, and then losing your brother in that battle. And then turn around, now I got to be on the run.
And then the trauma in, I lost my brother because I decided to be a good guy. Talk about that. Yeah. I decided to join this, and I lost that. Yeah. And it's just, she's always taking L's. So I'm like, y'all better be glad she ain't done more. And then going back to Aggie, why would you tell? This is where she does lean more into the villain category, because villains always mess it up with a speech. You're basically telling her who she is and how powerful she is. Once that clicks for her, that's a wrap for you, right?
Yeah.
Why would you tell her this
That's
stuff?
what she needs, is the full circle
I'll never understand villains giving a whole spiel to someone and just like, I'm not going to help you beat me. No.
No. Interested to see how she's going to react when she sees the other Vision.
Yeah.
This
is going to be an extreme wake-up call for episode 9.
That's good, Vampy, because people, I noticed in The Walking Dead especially, you have a loved one die. They not there no more. They're literally walking dead. But the way people react to seeing it, it's like, oh no, that's still my wife. That's still my kid. No, they're gone. But that connection is still there, and they called you to make her. Oh, it happened. The way that girl is so traumatized, and she at least should have done 6 more therapy sessions with Agatha before she could really have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
She's going to. It's going to.
A few more doors we need to open.
We definitely had a few more doors.
This might be the time where you don't want Monica to bust in. You just like, no, let me finish this session real quick. I'm almost there.
Monica, we were scheduled for next Wednesday. Like, give me a minute.
So I don't. Let me see. She The last thing, she lost her brother. Then she was on a run. Had to Crossbones. That's what it was. Crossbones tried to blow them up, and then she takes them and throws him up, and in lieu of that, causes all this destruction. She's on the run from that, and deemed a weapon, deemed dangerous, and everything else. And that's probably one of the few times Hulk is like, "I'm glad it wasn't me." So because I've had my moment in the sun, I'm fine, and having to be on the run from that, and it's like, you're right. She didn't have a moment to just breathe.
If you've ever been around anybody who or experienced it yourself, not to get into your own traumas, but I'm like annoyingly transparent. Anytime I've been through something huge and didn't allow myself a moment to get through it, by default, something else crazier happens. So now all of a sudden I'm having panic attacks because I didn't deal with something. It just, worse stuff happens. Yeah. And so like this hex and everything else happening, it makes so much sense because just all this built up trauma on top of people that are acting like they want to help you. They just want to get rid of you or control you. So now I can't trust nobody. And the people I could trust, they're dying or they're scared. Could you imagine? Well, yeah, we could imagine because we live it. But if we were in that type of world where everyone's consistently afraid of you, and it's like, I'm not someone in this world you should be worried about. Like, I'm literally minding my business. I just wanted to see my husband's body, and you're talking about him like he's just whatever. It's like, no, that was someone to me, and you're talking about him like he was a thing, and this was a whole ass someone who worked to be more human than humans that are born that way.
Yeah.
And you're just talking about him like he's scraps.
She probably had a handful of people in her life since, she's probably had a handful of people in her life who actually gave a damn. Hawkeye,
listen,
Steve, Vision. Those three people, in her brother, obviously, those people actually gave a damn.
And when you think about it, those are the only people that can like actually talk to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't here for nobody else.
Yeah, Hawkeye was the one that got her flipped. He said, look, and he came to her like just regular, straight out, hey, if you want to do this, you got to do this. You walk out that door, you're an Avenger. If you don't, hey, whatever. But I'm going out here to fight these robots.
Listen, I know it's
out of my league, but whatever. I got to do my job.
You're a witch. I have a bow and arrow. Like, ain't none of this shit making sense. But
right,
here we are.
And then Steve is like, when was it Infinity War? What's the first thing he said? He saves their ass basically. He's like, you were supposed to stay low, and it was just like, Widow says that. Black Widow said, you're like, you're supposed to stay low. I'm like, we were. These bastards found us, so, and Steve was the one that always was like, hey, if Hawkeye and Steve reminded me like two parents. You have one of the parents and one's the grandparent. You're like, if the parent says no, you're gonna go to the grandmother. So like Steve's like the grandmother or the grandfather. Like Hawkeye was like, look, no, this is what's happening. This, that, other. That's it. Steve is like, oh, you said he can't. He said you couldn't have that. Come on, baby, I'll give you some candy.
Can I spend the night?
Can I spend the night?
That's the spend the night conversation.
Right. So I am looking forward to episode 9. So anxious, like
episode 8 again.
I will be watching episode 8 again. Like, I've managed to watch each episode at least 3 to 4 times because it's so much, and it's easy because they're short episodes technically, so it was easy to do, and it was easy to like, all right, I missed that, like the Malcolm in the Middle episode, which was last episode,
which was way too good.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the fonts they're using for her name. And like the one where it has the refrigerator magnets, me and Brandy talked about last week, it was saying, I know what you're doing, Wanda. And I'm like, okay, who gave her that message? And now in theories were running rampant. They were like, it's got to be Doctor Strange. I was like, well, maybe it was Agatha. Well, all along. I'm not.
Pops.
Oh, God. Talk about a song. And that song actually hit number 1.
Week. Like, not surprised.
I'm not. It's okay.
Was Agatha all along?
Yeah, it's so freaking, and it reminds you of the monsters and everything. It was.
If I don't hear that at the little karaoke spot, you know, there's always someone doing karaoke at a con. If I don't hear that in rotation at the karaoke spot,
Agatha cosplay is gonna be. You better do Agatha, Candy.
Yeah,
I thought about it just because people make fun of my laugh. And you know what I thought about doing? I thought about doing it when she has the dog. And just carrying it like, oh, killed that too.
Oh,
So
boy.
Your laugh is perfect too.
It is.
I try to control it. It's a cackle. I
love it.
I've suffered for years with this. You suffered from cackling.
No, I love the cackle because it fits the dynamic that Brandy has, where she was like, they just say I'm evil, so she just rolls with it. You know?
I do get that a lot. I'd probably read evil if we were in a show, but it's like, no, really, I'm just I don't care.
I mean, I do.
But I'll probably.
I really don't like when people are like, "Oh, this girl's evil," when she just so happens to be a black woman. No, she's not evil. Because I get it a lot, and people say I'm mean. No,
I was just gonna say, they say you mean, don't they, girl?
There's a laugh that I do when people are around me. I'm like, and they're like, "Chris, what are you up to?" I was like, "Why do I have to be up to something?" You know.
Yeah, I just don't want
just,
because
like that's that devious. You
put
something up.
We're raised differently. Like we don't have to. We don't deal with. We can spot bullshit, so we point it out and be like, "Yo, correct this attitude, or I'm out." Like that's it. So
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Although there's a lot of times when I do that laugh, I probably am up to something. So there's nothing wrong.
But then women deal with the whole "you're too pretty not to smile" or "you're being way like you're on display."
That's that old man. That's that old man line.
You are a thing, and I'm here to entertain you. And maybe that was a way of survival for other people, but I ain't that bitch. I am not here to entertain you in that way.
They're like, "Oh, you should smile more."
No,
I'm good.
You want to be entertained? Go to VampySnow's cosplay page. You want to be entertained? Buy Jason's book. You want to be entertained? Are you not entertained? You want to do that? Right. Do all that. But we're not here for that.
Yeah. So and on that note, we're gonna do a little more promotion, and we're gonna close the show out. Jason, tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh yeah, Lost Children of Andromeda on Instagram and Facebook. And if you search Kickstarter, we have Lost Children of Andromeda kickstarting book 2, 2050Z, Time and Salvation. Pledge. We're really close to our goal.
There you go. VampySnow.
You can find me on all my socials or all social medias. Just type in VampySnow.
Candy B.
You can find me in VampySnow's closet and or Jason's hair care product cabinet, like because your hair look like it smell good. Like just don't call HR on me though. You can go to @OhSoYourBrandy, and basically, like I've said before, everything's all in my bio. So click, enjoy the content, enjoy the memes, and make sure you support everybody that we bring on this show because we're not stopping with this.
Oh no. Chris Fury, you can find Blerds Eyeview on all the social medias. On Instagram, it's Blerds Eyeview, Blerds_Eyeview, all lowercase. You can find us on YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe to that page. Hit that notification bell. You will find more and more geek-related stuff, Blerd-related stuff, POC creative stuff on the Blerds Eyeview regular podcast page as well as the After Dark page. Until next time, I am your host, Chris Fury, with Candy B, and our special guest, Jason Primrose of Lost Children of Andromeda and VampySnow of Black Cosplay Boosters, the Jane of all trades. Until next time, we're out. Oh, by the way, entertain yourself and others, educate yourself and others, and encourage yourself and others. And for all those POC creatives out there who are either listening or will be watching this show next week, holla at your boy. We got you back.